Hey Suburban Psychics, welcome back. This week's question is from Janice. And Janice says, when will I recover my self-confidence to find a job I like? Janice, I don't like when questions. I don't do when questions. There are great models out there for doing timing on things. So the tarot, for example, can be used for timing. I've got a book behind me. I think it's by Sasha Fenton behind me there, who has a timing model. So how you can use the major and minor arcana and the court cards, for example, for timing of things. But I just find when to be one of the saddest questions I hear, one of the loneliest questions I hear. When will this happen? When will he love me? When will she want me? It's the saddest, loneliest way to approach things. When I hear when questions, I immediately think of Dr. Zeus, and I actually brought the book out because when I got this question, this was the very first thing I thought of. Oh, the Places You'll Go by Dr. Zeus. And online, I'll put the link in the blog post afterwards, but there's a great little YouTube of Burning Man that a guy called Teddy took a number of years ago, where he got a whole bunch of people to say the lines from Oh, the Places You'll Go. And it is just the best YouTube video ever, in my opinion. And there's a part in it, and this is why it came straight to mind when I got the when question. There's a part in it where he talks about waiting. It's all about getting out into the world and having the courage to get out into the world. And he says, sometimes, you know, you don't know whether to go left or right and 3/4. And you get so tangled up that you come to a most useless place, he calls it, the waiting place. And he's got this fantastic illustration where he says, for people just waiting for the train to go, or the bus to come, or a plane to go, or the mail to come, or the rain to go, or a phone to ring, or the snow to snow, or waiting around for a yes or a no, or waiting for their hair to grow. Everyone is just waiting for the fish to bite, or waiting for the wind to fly a kite, or waiting around for Friday night, or waiting perhaps for their Uncle Jake, or a pot to boil, or a bed of break, a string of pearls, or a pair of pants, or a wig with curls, or another chance. Everyone is just waiting. I'm getting goosebumps just reading it. You can see how this was written for children, and this was so not written for children. Waiting for a better break, waiting for another chance, waiting around for a yes or no. And he goes on to say, no, that's not for you. Somehow you'll escape all that waiting and staying. You'll find the bright places where the boom bands are playing. I love this part. With banner flip-flapping, once more you'll ride high, ready for anything under the sky. Ready because you're that kind of guy. That's what I want, Janice, for you to be. I want you to be that kind of guy. Not waiting, not when will. I want you to be that kind of guy who just gets out and gets into it. So while I don't like the when part of the question, what I love about your question is you said, when will I recover my self-confidence to find a job I like? When will I, and I'm even underlining it as I speak, when will I recover? So I love that little word that snuck in there. And, you know, nothing's accidental. Everything we say and do just reveals so much about us. And recover is wonderful because it means you've had self-confidence before. You know what it looks like. You know what it feels like. You've just lost it for a while, for whatever reason. And you know exactly what it is, and you just don't know how to get it back. So let's see what the Oracle has for you, Janice, on around how we're going to get that back. We're going to ignore the when. We're going to ignore the when, and we're going to focus on the recover. because recover is the key for you here. And then the when, it'll just happen. It'll just happen. So I'm excited about this one. Not going to anything on the table, not going to the oracle that's on Pinterest, not going to the crystals, over 70 fabulous crystals for this first round, not going to any of the body stuff. So we'll just have a little looky here. Okay. Being drawn to Gary Chapman's The 5 Love Languages. Awesome, awesome, awesome book. Love Gary Chapman. Being drawn to the Osho books, or Osho, if you wish to pronounce him that way. Oh, okay. This one is called Freedom, the Courage to Be Yourself. Wow, this is going to have something fantastic for you, Janice. And finally, I can't avoid it. I can't avoid it. Oh my gosh. How can this not come up for Janice? Yeah? Feel the fear and do it anyway. Susan Jeffers. I'll tell you my little story about that one in a minute. Okay, so let's see what Gary's got for Janice. Now, it's the 5 Love Languages, how to express heartfelt commitment to your mate. But I have found that this model translates to all relationships. It's not just about your mate, your marriage or commitment or romantic person. This relates to any relationship you have with anybody, anywhere. Gary's gone on to do the 5 languages of apology, which are also fantastic. If you've ever been in a situation where you felt you gave someone an apology and it just didn't even seem to hit the mark, the 5 languages of apology is fantastic. And he's also done a great one on the 5 languages of appreciation, which is a really popular book in the workplace, on how to show people appreciation in a way that's going to be meaningful for them. So I'm just going to jot down, because I'll blog post this afterwards with links to all of the books and a few little notes there for Janice. Gary Chapman, Gary 5 Love, and let's see what we're drawn to. Alrighty. Okay, so page 62, and probably because it's just standing out, but that's where my eye went. My eye didn't go to the top or the bottom. It says, many of us are trained to analyze problems. Oh, well, how interesting that this is so freaking relevant. Many of us are trained to analyze problems and to create solutions. We forget that marriage is a relationship, not a project to be completed or a problem to solve. Oh, wow. That's a good one. I'm not going to go any further for you, Janice. Excuse me. That we are trained to analyze problems and create solutions. And there's a lot of work being done on, you know, the parts of the brain that relate to this human tendency to seek out the problem. Where's the problem? Where's the problem? Where's the danger coming from? And then to create solutions. And part of me almost wants to say to you, when you say, when will I recover my self-confidence to find a job I like? Part of me wants to say, like, how do you even know you need to recover it? Like, how do you even really know it's gone? Because anytime we put ourselves out there into a new situation, and you're doing one of the big scary ones, it's like finding a job I like. Very few, I was going to say nobody, but that's not true. Very few people love going for job interviews, love putting themselves out there, love risking rejection. It's natural to not feel self-confident when contemplating doing something like that. Natural. You can do a lot of little tools and tips and techniques to bolster yourself up, and I think we're going to get to that with Susan Jeffers. But don't assume it's gone, or maybe it was gone, something knocked you around, but don't assume that it's still gone. And sometimes the feeling, a little bit of excitement, can also seem like anxiousness and can seem like lack of confidence. So you're looking for a problem. You know, you're trying to analyze a problem and create a solution. So the first thing I would say is that, like he says here about, we forget that marriage is a relationship, not a project to be completed or a problem to solve. I think recovering your self-confidence is not a project to be completed or a problem to solve specifically. As you go for job interviews, you're going to naturally develop more self-confidence towards the process. And I think in saying you recover, I love that word. I keep coming back to that word for you, Janice, because recover means you've had it. It means you know you've got great skills. So please get back in touch with that part of yourself. Please get back in touch with your heart that says, I've got something to offer. I can add value. And it's not just one way where, you know, I'm hoping they like me. I'm hoping they want me. It's a two-way street where you can go in and say, gosh, I hope you've got something to offer me, because I've sure as hell got something to offer you. So I like this one as our first oracle. I think it's terrific. I'm going to make a note of the page 62, and I'll be putting that specific quote that was in the middle there in the blog post. So the next one is, I loved how these three just really popped out, and they're so great for this. She's asking about self-confidence, and the title I'm drawn to is Freedom, the Courage to Be Yourself by Osho. I almost don't want to go any further. Hello. The courage to be yourself. There's your self-confidence. And there are certain circumstances where it does take courage to be yourself. To be around friends, there's no courage in being yourself because you've overcome that phase. But to sit in front of strangers, people you don't know, to then sell yourself in finding a job, to sell your skills and knowledge and experience, there's going to be some courage required there to be yourself. Some real courage. And I just know you've got it in you because you're asking the question about recovering your self-confidence. So there is such a strong, courageous part of you that's ready, that is absolutely ready for you to just get on out there and get moving. I'm going to still go to a page for you anyway. So I've been drawn to page 51, and I'm going to make a note of this, Freedom, page 51, and straight to the top, drawn to the top, and it says, moving horizontally, you will remain without a soul. Okay. When the vertical penetrates you, you become a soul. Soul means the vertical has penetrated into the horizontal. Or as an example, you can think of a caterpillar, the cocoon, and the butterfly. He gets a little obscure sometimes. Man is born as larva. Unfortunately, many also die as larvae. Very few become caterpillars. Okay, I see where he's going. A larva is static. It knows no movement. It remains stuck at one space, at one place, at one stage. Oh, Janice, this is really good for you. This is really good for you. The caterpillar starts moving. Dynamism enters. He starts moving. The larva is static. The caterpillar moves. With movement, life is stirred. Again, many remain caterpillars. They go on moving horizontally in the same plane, in one dimension. Rarely a man like Buddha, or Rumi, or Jesus, or Kabir takes the final quantum leap and becomes a butterfly. Then the vertical enters in. The larva is static. The caterpillar moves and knows movement. The butterfly flies. Oh, I love it. I love it. And quite frankly, if you're so focused on when will I recover my self-confidence, you are completely static. You are completely static. You are completely horizontal, and you are utterly without movement. And I think it's time to get all those little legs into gear and at least be the caterpillar and have some movement. Have some movement. Stop asking the question, when will I recover my self-confidence? Throw that fucking question out. It no longer exists for you. It's not a consideration. The next question, the next movement is, which job will I apply for this week, this month? That's your new question. That's your little caterpillar movement, right? And you just do a few of those. And maybe you're still staying horizontal for a while, but you're moving. There's some dynamism entering back in, and not this dreadful, static conundrum that your brain will not solve. You will never feel, and this is where how fantastic, love her, Susan Jeffers comes in. I got a new job many years ago. They didn't mention that speaking was going to be part of the job, that each day I'd have to get up sometimes 5 times a day in front of groups of 30 or more people and speak to them. And I nearly shit myself when I found out that that was going to be part of my job. And fate, God, life, the universe led me to this book because I'm a self-help junkie. So when I have a problem, of course, I'm like, I'm going to go to the bookshop, because in these days the internet wasn't as extensive as it is now. That's how old I am. And I found this awesome little book, and she basically says, you can't think yourself into readiness. You cannot solve the conundrum, the problem with your brain of feeling fear and getting yourself ready and then doing something. It just doesn't happen that way. It might for a very few people, and I would consider them anomalies and consider this is normal. You feel the fear and do it anyway. And so what she basically said, and I've got, oh look, you can see all these amazing coloured highlights here that have faded over the years. Look how yellow, oh my gosh, look how yellow my notes are. This is how old it is and how much I use this book. She basically just says, you've got to get off your ass, feel the fear, and you've got to do it anyway. And the only way you overcome your fear is by doing the thing you don't want to do in the face of it. And I feel it's the same for you with this, you know, recover my self-confidence to find a job I like. Feel the lack of self-confidence and do it anyway. Just do it anyway. And you do it anyway, not once, but you do it twice, 3 times, 5 times, 10 times. When a role that I was in was made redundant about 3.5, 4 years ago now, I went for 32 jobs in an 8-week period. Now, do you think I had overwhelming self-confidence? No, I totally believed in who I am and the skills I had to offer. But it's nerve-wracking going for a job. It's nerve-wracking to put yourself in front of people and be 100 watts of brightness and say, I'm fantastic and I hope you notice that too. And you're not going to get 32 out of 32 jobs. I didn't. You don't need 32 out of 32. You need 1, right? And I just had to feel the fear and do it anyway. Just had to get in there and just keep going, because the outcome was so important to me. And the journey, as uncomfortable as the journey was, the outcome kept me going forward. And I think, Janice, that needs to do the same for you. You've got some incredibly strong answers here today from the Oracle. Everything is saying to you, just do it. Just do it. I almost feel like this, when will I recover my self-confidence? It is a story. It's just an old story. And the brain, the ego, for want of a better term, it loves an old story. It's a, it's a needle that loves finding the old groove on the record. It just wants to go in circles and go in circles. It loves an old story, hates a new story, shits its pants over a new story. But it's absolutely time for you now, Janice, to have a new story. So, like I said before, and I used the F-bomb, throw that fucking question out. Get rid of it. We don't need that question anymore. You just get out there, even if it's little caterpillar steps, all those little legs. Get out there, go for some jobs, and just feel the fear and do it anyway. I really hope that you can put these answers into practice, because that's the next step. Don't remain the little lava, don't remain horizontal with a bit of knowledge. You've really got to take some movement on this one, Janice. This isn't an intellectual exercise. This, for you, is going to be a physical exercise of getting out and doing things, and I really hope you do, and I would love to hear back from you about how that's going for you. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I hope you really enjoyed the questions and answers, the question and the answers that have come out today. Remember, you're connected, and that when you do ask a question, it is answered. So therefore, ask great questions. And the structure of the question, the structure of the thought has the power to move you forward or to keep you stuck. This question could keep you stuck, which is why we're throwing it out. We don't want that. We don't want that. But within the question you asked, Janice, there was a marvelous little word, recover my self-confidence. It's there. You don't have to recover it. It's never gone anywhere. It just got maybe pushed down a little bit, but it's time for it to come back out. So consider subscribing to the channel. I'd love to have you with me, whether it's on a regular basis or just from time to time. I hope you get something out of this, my little suburban sidekicks. So, what's your question?